Surround sound.
Coming up on this episode, it is the Great Cookie Taste-Off. For Shaun-tember, we've got a couple great guests and a lot of sweet treats, so stick around. We're going to go through them right now. This is Up for Debate, episode number 188, recorded September 17th, 2020. Shaun-tember presents the Cookie Crumble. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Up for Debate. I am Sean Jennings. It is my month, and I am joined, as always, by the original Cookie Monster. It's Matt Mariani. Hello, Matt.
Hello. I'm very nervous and excited about today being Cookie Day.
Yes, you were taken aback, I'm sure, yesterday when your cookies were delivered to your door.
Yeah. So I was I approached the door, and I guess I was expecting. I knew I was expecting the package from you that day, but I didn't know that it was coming in grocery bags. I thought it was going to come in like a big box, whatever it was going to be. So I found these grocery bags at my door, and I was like, oh, like Instacart must have made a mistake, and they must have given me like my neighbor's groceries by like accident. So I don't know how I'm going to hunt down whose groceries these are. And then I noticed they were all cookies, and I was like, I don't know I'm sure there are people out there that would just exclusively order Instacart bags full of cookies. They probably exist, but then I had a hunch that maybe this was a podcast surprise. So
It sure was. And talking about surprises, Matt, this is a topic so big, you and I could not do it alone. So we had to bring in two guys I would consider cookie connoisseurs. You know them from the Don't Panic podcast, and as just great friends. It's Colby and Dan Miller. Welcome back.
Hi.
Hey,
Thanks,
this is actually
Sean.
my first time.
Well, you've been on the Movie League,
Oh, that's true.
but this is your first time on a non-Movie League episode, which is such a treat. We've been dying to have... Colby, we frankly have seen too much of. But Dan, we've been dying to have you on the show.
Yeah, I keep waiting for my invite to Star Wars Month, but Star Wars Month hasn't happened yet.
We keep talking. We still have not done our Rise of Skywalker episode, which I think would just be a blast. Just fun. Just fun.
That was a movie.
as long as we could eat cookies while we do it, or drink or something like that.
There's
Just
plenty
something to take our mind off of the movie itself.
There's plenty of Star Wars themed food products out there. I don't think we'll have any shortage.
Which month would be the Star Wars month?
I think it's
just
May.
pick one answer.
Probably
Yeah.
May, right? Like May the 4th.
I
yeah.
guess.
Yeah, May is Star Wars month according to StarWarsReport.com.
Doesn't get more official than that.
Well, May 14th is George Lucas's birthday according to Star Wars Report.
Oh, is that where that came from?
Oh my God.
It wasn't just the pun?
Star Wars month, we're so off topic already and we're like 2 minutes in, but apparently StarWarsReport.com came up with a list. Not only is May Star Wars month, but each day in May has a meaning. So like May 5th is Han Solo Day.
What's May 6th?
May 6th is Star Wars Art Appreciation Day.
Singing a Colby.
May 13th is Fett Day. May 16th
Day.
is Prequel Appreciation Day.
They only get one day. 3 movies one day. That's not a good sign.
My birthday, May 19th, is Chewbacca Day.
Wow.
There's a Grand Moff Day, a Dooku Day.
Yeah, if your trilogy gets the same billing as Grand Moff Day, that's not a good sign.
Well, the reason it's May 26th is because actor Peter Cushing was born on May 26th.
There you go. It all ties together. This is like some QAnon shit right here. It all has meaning.
Matt, we may have to do this next May.
I don't know if I could do a podcast every single day, Sean, but
It's all I've ever wanted.
Can we actually? Could you pick the most obscure days and choose those for each week that you do the podcast? Like, I think a whole episode on Grand Moff Day would be super interesting.
maybe once our Patreon takes off, then we could do an episode every day.
Oh, if they're
We
going to
live
pay
off of-
us,
live
cha-ching,
off
cha-ching.
of the earnings of that.
I'll do anything for that money. Guys, so tonight, the Cookie Crumble. Colby gets credit for the title. also known as
Crumble in the jungle.
Get ready to crumble.
You're crumbelievable. It's also the Great Cookie Taste-Off. I have sent to each of you a variety of 6 cookies. Now, before anyone complains, it's surprisingly difficult to order cookies online and get them delivered to people. So I will fully admit this is not a representative sample of the most popular or beloved cookies in America, but it is a variety.
I would say that it's actually a pretty representative sample of the mass-manufactured cookies available in any grocery store throughout America.
Well, and it's not all chocolate. It's not all cream.
A lot of
filled.
people
It's
like a
not
black and white cookie, but you can't order a black and white cookie and have it delivered in New Jersey, Massachusetts, and New York City and have it be the same product.
Yes.
It's going to be different.
No,
That's true.
This is pretty mainstream. I don't think we're going to break any sort of revolutionary ideas here, but we're going to spend the next hour tasting some cookies, talking about cookies, and just having a cookie party with our pals. How wonderful is that? Matt, since you're the other half of the Up for Debate team, what cookie would you like to start with?
Let me just say, I when you pitched Shaun-tember, I was absolutely terrified by the prospect, and this was all the way back in
March Madness.
March Madness. But this has been every week has been like another one, like one more pleasant surprise after the other. So
do you know? I did think the other day. I thought the other day, I'm like, man, imagine if I put this much effort into the show every week. Maybe we'd actually be good. I really did feel bad. I'm like, I've never tried this hard before.
We'd have the Patreon. All I'm saying, Patreon. Think about it. I know the cookies I'm most excited for, but I don't know if I want to start with those.
Okay.
I think we go with the classic. I think we go with the America's favorite cookie. I think we start with the Chips Ahoy. How about that?
Oh, absolutely. The original, real chocolate chip cookies, as they say on the package here.
All right.
Which is good to know. So I've got my package here. I've got my glass of milk. I know I saw some cocktails, some beer.
I like these
I gotta get my milk.
Subliminal messaging you got here. Share me.
Oh, look at that.
Good. What is with that?
I think did it say buy bonds? Buy war bonds? That can't be right.
So I'm rocking some oat milk.
Whoa!
I've got oat milk here.
Did you milk those oats yourself?
Nope. I had the oat farmers do it for me. America's favorite oat farmers. Happy Oats come from
Happy
Vermont.
Where do they come
from?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Is there like the oat? You know, it wouldn't surprise me if like Wyoming is the oat state and just nobody.
Some Foley work here.
All right, yeah. This is the ASMR segment
I was gonna say.
of the episode.
I apologize. It's gonna be a hard episode to listen to.
Truly horrific.
These cookies are smaller than I remember them.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah, I think things have changed.
But is it also one of those things where it's like because you're a kid and now we've like physically grown in size, they just seem smaller? I don't know. They do seem cheaper. I feel like they had bigger chocolate chips and stuff. I will say they smell great. The smell is like what I think a chocolate chip cookie smells like.
Chips Ahoy is like kind of like a Frankenstein's monster of cookies because it's like basically a giant mega corporation being like, this is what chocolate chip cookies are. This is what we think of, like how to make them. They're very good though.
Yeah, I haven't had these. I'm dipping mine in my milk right now.
Oh yeah,
They're
so dry otherwise.
That's the thing, is they are.
I don't have that much saliva.
They're
like
pretty
oat.
crumbly. Like they're kind of dry.
But I
They
will
bake
say,
for milk.
I think that plays into its favor in the smaller cookie size. Because I feel like a big crumbly cookie is hard to eat, but these are like almost the right size for a crumbly cookie.
Mm-hmm.
You guys like any other flavors of Chips Ahoy besides the like your traditional?
I don't know if I've had any other flavors.
I like the chewy ones.
Those scare me. That is one of those food Frankenstein products that I just don't want to know how they keep them soft.
That's a true Frankenstein.
Well, fun fact: what is the third ingredient in a Chips Ahoy?
Cocaine. No, I don't know. What is it?
Good old riboflavin.
Oh,
Ribbo.
It goes like
part of a balanced
wheat
diet.
flour, something else, and then riboflavin.
It's good for a growing young body. I like the ones with the they don't call them M&Ms, but with the candy pieces in them.
Oh yeah, those are good. Yes, the generic, colorful candy treats.
Yes. Yeah,
Definitely not M&Ms because they don't have the licensing agreement.
which that seems like a slam dunk no brainer, but I guess they must have because it's Nabisco versus Mars. So.
Mars. I wonder why Mars doesn't just put out their own cookie. Maybe it's too expensive.
I mean, they'd have to ship it all the way to Earth.
That's
Oh,
true.
boom. That's our first zinger of the night. Yeah, guys, let me ask in general as we're kicking off this episode. I mean, what do you guys think of cookies overall? Is this kind of sort of a pro cookie audience?
I mean, yeah, like who doesn't like cookies? That's insane. Also, like that's not even a valid question.
I think it is.
disagree with the question.
I think it. Well, okay, I'm not. Okay, maybe it's. I'll take the my bad on the question. I'm just saying, in your pantheon of sweet baked goods, because to me, I would not consider myself a big cookie guy. Like cookies are fine. I'll eat a cookie, but if you had like a bakery in front of me with a wide range of it, cookie is probably one of like the third or fourth thing I'd go for.
Yeah.
Oh
Agreed.
yeah. I would never buy. Well, not never, but like I rarely buy a cookie at a bakery. But I think of the things that you make at home, cookies are pretty high up there.
Cookies are like the burgers of baked goods. It's like you go to a restaurant or a bakery and you get a cookie, it'll probably be good, but like, well, how much better will it be than the burger that you can make? Like high floor, low ceiling kind of food, which is like, why would I pay my $3.50 at the Brooklyn Bakery for that?
Yeah, bakery quality cookies are usually.
First of all, they're huge usually.
They
It's
are.
Like, here's like a hubcap sized cookie.
That's very true.
Great.
Very true. Yeah, here's an enormous cookie. I sometimes I feel like they just aren't. They're not as sweet or something like that. Maybe they're like more crumbly. They're more like something you have with your coffee.
I feel like much like a burger, the bigger you make a cookie, like making a cookie bigger does not make it better.
Very true.
Yes.
Yeah, very true. You stretch the ingredients out too thin, and you end up with like a powdery, kind of just maybe dry cookie.
It's like a wasteland.
Well,
Now, if I could walk into a bakery and be guaranteed a freshly baked cookie, that might be worth my $3.50.
Oh baby.
yeah, I think of just about any bakery dessert. I think cookie is the one I would want warm or hot. Because like a cupcake, it's like, no, I kind of want that at room temperature. Or even like a brownie, it's like, I'm fine with a brownie at room temperature, but a cookie is miles better, warm or hot.
Yeah, I'm thinking like a cannoli. You don't want like a hot cannoli.
just steam coming out of your cannoli. It's a hot cannoli.
Fresh hot cannolis, steaming hot. Get your hot cannolis.
Have any of you ever tried like warming up a Chips Ahoy? Can you do it? Is it possible?
No, if you put it in the microwave, it explodes. No, I
I've
haven't.
never done
That's
that.
the riboflavin. Riboflavin is actually an explosive chemical.
Yeah, I haven't warmed up a Chips Ahoy.
I don't think I've ever warmed up a store-bought, like, mass-made cookie, even, I don't think.
I've never thought of it.
You're a cookie innovator.
Well,
Yeah,
Colby,
I've
you've got some
crumbled the
Chips Ahoy
cookies
there.
up. Put them
I
in
don't.
like ice
I don't
cream.
have a microwave. I could put it in the toaster oven.
That's right.
That would be an interesting experiment. I would be afraid it would get like just dehydrated.
It's already
Knowing the
so
way they
dry.
probably produce these things, it probably like the microwave oven would just extract all the like water molecules
It's just
from
dust.
and you would just end up with like a powder. It just like blows away.
You just add a couple drops of water, it turns back into a cookie. You know what I do think? I'm going to try this after the show. I bet if you put the cookies in a microwave... Have you guys ever microwaved something with a glass of water in the microwave to keep whatever it is hydrated? Have you ever done that trick?
No.
No.
I have done it with a wet paper towel.
Same idea, right? I bet if you did that with a cookie, I bet you could keep it moist and hot, and it wouldn't.
Does that really work? Does that?
In my experience, it had, like reheating like chicken or something like that, where it kind of will really dry out in a microwave. If you put in some moisture in there, you'd be surprised.
Usually, I add water to something if I'm afraid of it being dehydrated. But the cup of water, that could be a game changer.
Yeah, you kind of just want to steam it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, do we want to try another cookie here? Well, what's our verdict on? I guess Matt, what is our sort of rating scale here?
I don't know. Are we going for under, over, or appropriate, or are we going for? Do we want to try something?
I think we should do.
What do you guys do over at Don't Panic? How do you rate stuff?
We have no opinions on things. We only read news articles off the internet.
Oh, we're objective, Matt.
We're journalists.
I guess that's the way to
journalism.
be. Not on this podcast. We've got some hard-hitting opinions, and
Yeah.
we never apologize for them, and then we end up agreeing on everything.
I think we should rate them on a scale from. Somebody else jump in with an idea here. I'm stuck.
Well, we could do the classic Colby scale. Feels good, feels bad.
Okay. I like that.
It doesn't leave a lot of room for nuance, though.
I was going to say my only issue with that is I don't really think I feel bad about cookies in general. Like, if one of these boxes, if I opened it up and it turned out there were no cookies in it, or there were like spiders crawling around instead of cookies, then it would probably feel bad. But I feel good about all of these cookies. I feel good that I didn't even have to pay for any of these cookies.
That's
they just showed
true.
up at my house. That never happens.
I'm going to start doing that randomly now. Just sending you cookies.
I welcome it.
Matt, what do you think about if we used our Rocky scale, where we see how many rounds these cookies could go in a fight?
Okay. I feel like it might be inaccurate to do like 14 rounds, though. That's a lot for a cookie.
You don't
I think the cookie might crumble, to borrow the pun from earlier.
Why don't we do this? Let's rank them on a scale from 0 to 5 glasses of milk for dunking. So how many glasses of milk do we score each cookie? 5 obviously being better than 0. Matt, where do you rank the Chips Ahoy?
The Chips Ahoy, I think, are a very respectable 3 cups out of 5. 3 cups out of 5. I think that is pretty much where they're at. I think they're like, it's a good place to start because it's right in the middle. They're very adequate. My issue with Chips Ahoy though is like, can you eat a whole sleeve of them? Like, yeah, but you probably feel really sick afterwards.
I had one and I don't want another.
Yeah, I can never binge Chips Ahoy. It's not like a bingeable cookie. 1 or 2. I think it has to do with the salt content. You guys know, like, it tastes a little bit like there's some kind of maybe salt. Maybe that's your ribot, Dan. Maybe the ribot is what's keeping it from bingeability.
Oh, it does have a lot of riboflavin in it.
Hmm.
And a lot of sodium.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, they're America's saltiest cookie, is what they are.
Yeah, it says it right here on the package.
America's saltiest cookie. I have a theory. Maybe they're in league with the milk and oat milk industry to try to sell more glasses of milk. America's dairy farmers. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe we could explore that. Is there a Chips Ahoy that's stuffed with caramel, or did I make that up?
You definitely made that up.
Can we write to Nabisco and pitch that idea? I think
would
that
it
would
be like an Oreo but with caramel in the middle?
Yeah, well,
Chips
it's just
Ahoy
like it would be a Chips Ahoy cookie, but then like you pull it apart and there's caramel in the middle.
Well,
I think that would be incredible.
I think the sort of gimmick of Chips Ahoy, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the chips part, like chocolate chips. And so I think putting caramel in the middle sort of distracts from the mission. No.
I don't know. I mean, why not have both? I think that sounds like 2 really awesome things. Or you could replace the chocolate chips with like caramel bits.
Now that's a good idea.
Okay.
I back that up.
Now we're on to something.
We're going there. All right. All right. Colby, what do you rate Chips Ahoy?
I'm also like a 3 on the glasses of milk scale. I think they are exactly middle of the road. Like, it's pretty good. It's definitely not bad, but like, you know, am I gonna finish this entire package of Chips Ahoy cookies? Definitely not. If I do, we can amend this.
Yeah, report back and let us know how it goes.
Yeah. I don't think so.
What about you, Dan?
Yeah, 2.5, 3 stars out of 5. It's fine. It's just okay. It's not offensive. Not amazing. I'm not compelled to eat another one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 3.5. I think as far as a mass market cookie goes, there's nothing wrong with it. So I think it's just barely slightly above average, but it's a solid cookie. But I will never buy them. Okay, let's move on. Colby, why don't you pick our next cookie here? From our wide, vast selection.
Want to do the Vienna fingers?
Let's do the Vienna fingers. Now, while people are opening these up and pulling these out, I want to let the folks know at home that Vienna fingers was not my first choice. I wanted a Keebler cookie, but I could not get the EL fudges, which were the ones I really wanted. And I couldn't get the round ones with the ribbons of chocolate over it, which I forget the names of right now. And so we had to settle for Vienna fingers. Now, in general, I have had Vienna fingers, and I think they're fine, but they weren't my first Keebler choice. I feel like I'm already talking smack on it, and we haven't even eaten them yet.
So my package of Vienna fingers is already open, and it's not a the delivery person didn't get at them. My wife got at them because of all of these options. Shockingly enough, and I didn't know this, or else maybe it might have affected our relationship. I don't know. Her favorite cookie of all the cookies that Shaun ordered us were the Vienna fingers. And I am just floored by that because they're nobody's favorite cookie.
I think in most states that's legal grounds for divorce.
It was completely shocking to me. Like, I asked her to rank all the cookies because she's a bit of a cookie fan, and I said, "What cookies are your favorite ones?" And she chose the Vienna fingers. Like, I guess they bring up good memories. Like, as a kid, I guess her family had Vienna fingers around. To me, you know what the Vienna fingers were? These were cookies that if you went to like a school board meeting or any kind of adult gathering where the people gathering weren't friends, but like part of an organization and like worked with each other, it would be like the cookies you would have at like a function. They're like function cookies, and you would put it next to like the big dispenser of coffee, and whenever they would say, "Welcome, come on in. There's cookies in the back. Have a seat."
When you were in Alcoholics Anonymous?
Yeah, we'll get started shortly. Yeah, that to me that's the Vienna fingers. That's where they would be served.
I mean, it may be the least interesting cookie ever invented. I mean, I have to say, it is the most, and I hate to use the word vanilla because it literally is, but it is like the watching paint dry of cookies. Like in this highly politicized, divided world we live in, I think the one thing we can all agree on is that Vienna fingers are fine. I mean, it's like there's nothing interesting, memorable, or remarkable about Vienna fingers.
America's most basic cookie.
Look, it says it right here on the package. You're just crowning slogans tonight, Matt, like it's nobody's business.
Now, did you know that the first 3 ingredients in a Vienna finger are the same first 3 ingredients as in a Chips Ahoy cookie?
They got the ribot.
Got the ribot, got your flour, and you got some vitamin B.
Ooh.
Did you know that riboflavin is Flavor Flav's given name?
That's his Christian name?
Yeah. I picked the Vienna fingers because I think they're disgusting. Like, this is like the worst cookie.
What are you going to do with all of your Vienna fingers?
I'm going to probably throw them away. I don't know what else to do with them. I'm not gonna eat any more. It's like a bad saltine. I would rather eat a saltine, like dip a saltine cracker in milk than eat Vienna fingers.
You know what?
Now-
Oh, go ahead, Dan.
Interesting. Like I've already eaten 2. I don't think they're amazing, but like I think they're a little bit more addicting than the Chips Ahoy because they have that like creamy, sugary feeling to them.
Yes, I think that's a good point. They're more snackable, which makes them dangerous because they're not even enjoyable, but they're very snackable cookie. They're sweet. They're a lot sweeter than the Chips Ahoy.
And they don't really leave an aftertaste, or if they do, it's a very pleasant, just light sort of hint of vanilla.
Extremely mild one, yes.
See, I think they're just so dry. Like they're even drier than the Chips Ahoy, and the Chips Ahoy are pretty dry.
They're really like powdery crumbly.
Yeah,
I have to keep going back to my oat milk because it is very dry.
it's like a stale graham cracker.
Yeah,
The oat milk has more flavor than the Vienna finger. So.
It's them tasty oats. You know what bums me out is I actually was a big Vienna Fingers kid because I was boring and white, and having not had them for years, I'm like, why did I ever like this? I will say, reading here on Wikipedia, so Vienna Fingers was started. Now they're owned by Keebler, but originally sold by Sunshine Biscuits, that was acquired by Keebler, and they created a bunch of famous brands, Cheez-Its, and a bunch of other, but they did Vienna Fingers. They also invented Hydrox cookies, which we'll probably talk about in a minute when we talk about our Oreos. But apparently, Sunshine sent a shipment of over 20,000 Vienna Fingers and Hydrox cookies to Gulf War soldiers in 1990 and 1991. A soldier scrawled a response note on an Oreo box, "Please deploy cookies." They did the same later in 1994, with the quote being, "The donation of these cookie favorites will give the troops a taste of home." They were also brought with the troops to the refugee-filled border area between Rwanda and Zaire. I just wonder how you guys would feel if you were like, "Oh, we got cookies, guys! Yeah, high five! Yeah!" And it's like Hydrox and Vienna Fingers.
I would feel hated. I would feel like everybody in
attacked.
America hated me.
I don't know this country anymore.
Now, I think that Keebler is part of Ferrara Candy Company. Are you seeing that? And I'm on the Ferrara website. In the most recent press release published today, Ferrara Candy Company unleashing pipeline of consumer-led breakthrough innovations.
Is this a Munch Squad?
Pipeline.
Is this that Dakota Access pipeline they're talking about?
Yeah, they're filling it with tasty snacks.
Right? Where do you think they get that sweet cream from?
Oh, okay. So one part of the pipeline is the Nerds Gummy Clusters. Now rolling out nationwide in October, Nerds Gummy Clusters combine flavors and textures in a poppable format with a sweet gummy center coated in tangy, crunchy miniature nerd candies. Another product is Trolley Gummy Creations. Is this an internet meme? Trolley Gummy Creations, which are buildable sour gummies in alien-themed shapes, offering a customizable experience.
Please tell me there's a quote in there from a senior vice president of marketing that doesn't make any sense. Always my favorite part of a food press release. Bridget Stanley, the senior vice president of food innovations. Yeah, that's great.
Fortunately, my browser can't search this page, which is weird. I do search in Firefox, and then I get a spinner. I have a quote here. I just don't know who it's from. People love taffy, but they haven't been able to have it be portable and poppable. And that's what Laugh Bites is. But what was missing from the equation was the banana flavor, he said. Greg Guidotti, general manager of the sugar confectionery portfolio at Ferrara Candy Company.
Yep.
Those who love banana Laffy Taffy will love it, and those who hate it will never buy it. Wow, how is that how that sentence ends?
I just love the idea of all these people just like enjoying mounds of taffy at home and being like, but this can't ever leave my home. What am I going to do?
We're igniting the growth engine across our Ferrara portfolio, Mr. Guidotti said. We're doing this by building powerful brand equities with significant, meaningful investments in our brands and business. semicolon. Through consumer-led breakthrough innovation, semicolon, a deliberate channel growth and distribution strategy, and, comma, finally, comma, meeting our customers where they play.
I love it. This is just a dream come true.
It's beautiful.
They're making it happen. Before we move on to our next cookie, I did want to talk for a second about the Keebler Elves. Are you guys a big fan of the Keebler Elves?
I haven't seen them around lately.
I used to see them.
Did they get canceled? Have they been canceled for a reason? I haven't seen them anywhere. Maybe they pulled their advertising or something. But
just so you all know, the other person quoted in this article is the general manager of the Cookies, Crusts, and Cones portfolio. Sorry. I'm going to close this tab.
Well, I did just want to talk about the elves are still out there. Now they're kind of 3D CGI animated. But I want to talk, created in 1968 by the Leo Burnett Advertising Agency. The bakery they work in is called the Hollow Tree Factory. Of course, the main is Ernie. Ernie Keebler is the main elf that appeared in the original commercials. But now they have the whole elf family, including Friar Tuck, Ernie's nephews Zoot and JJ, Ernie's mother Ma Keebler, the young Elmer Keebler, Buckets, which is the guy who throws the bucket of fudge on the cookies, Fast Eddie, Sam,
they
Roger,
named him last.
Doc, Zach, Flo, Leonardo, Elwood, Professor, Edison, Larry, and Art.
I just imagine them at the pitch meeting, and like they're just doing like they're just gonna hold up like a picture of the elf, and they're like, what name should we give this elf? And like, oh, that's Edward, that's Gertrude, and then they get to the last one, and they've been there all day, and it's like lunchtime now. They've been there like all morning, coming up with names for these elves, and then there's just one Buckets. We'll call him Buckets because he's got a bucket. I don't care. It's lunchtime. I gotta get home.
Yep.
We'll call him Buckets.
A cinematic universe waiting to be built.
Well, fun fact: stick a Keebler Elves fan fiction in your search engine of choice.
I will not. I'm gonna pass. But thank you.
Can that be the bonus Patreon episode? Sean reads
Keebler Elf fanfic. Again,
Sean
you pay me. I'll
Keebler
do it.
Elf fanfiction.
Bring it on. Sign me up.
That's what our $15 tier subscribers get.
Yep.
That's their premium content.
Not safe for work.
It's premium, all right.
All right. Well, let's
for $1,000. Sean dresses up like a Keebler elf, and
we'll have sex with you. Yes. Hey, look, man, I got bills. Let's quickly go around the horn and score these Vienna fingers on our 0 to 5 glasses of milk scale. I'll go first. I'm going to give it a 4. What about you, Matt?
You gave it a 4?
I gave it a 4.
I think I'm being generous when I say I'm going to give it a 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's probably the where I would stand. It's bland but aggressively so.
Colby?
I'm gonna say don't waste your milk. Zero
Whoa,
cups.
An empty cup.
By the way, the 2 milks that I gave were both oat milk, so that's really like equivalent of like one regular milk.
Yeah, you gotta know the metric conversion scale on that. What about you, Dan?
3.5. Mostly bland, but I had 3, so definitely better than the Chips Ahoy.
Very fair. Okay, good scores. Let's keep moving on here. Dan, what cookie would you like to have next?
I'm gonna buck the trend and go for my what I think is probably my favorite cookie, although I haven't tried all of them, so maybe there'll be a dark horse candidate. The Fig Newton.
The Fig Newton. Exciting. Real fruit. Now, I do have to say, while we're all noisily cracking these open, this is the cookie. Matt, apparently the Wegmans near you did not have fig-flavored Fig Newtons, so they substituted it with strawberry Fig Newtons. I don't even know.
Oh, okay.
I used to eat, back in the day, strawberry Fig Newtons. I don't even know the last time, if ever, I've had the original Fig Newtons.
Now that's bizarre because I've actually never had strawberry Fig Newtons, but I'm very excited to try them. I grew up eating the Fig Newtons. Now, okay, so we have an issue because it's telling me to peel. It is very clearly not a peel open, though.
No, it is. It's hard to open. I had the same issue. You can trust me, Matt. Believe me. It's hard to get that
Believe
tab
in
started.
It's very
yourself.
clearly printed on. It's not a.
Nope.
Okay, I'm just.
Nope. I'm telling you, Matt. I'm telling you. I had a hard time getting that initial lip up. You can. I believe in you.
I should have done this as the prep work before the episode began, and it's like magic. It opened. All right, you were right, Sean. I didn't receive a
My motivational speaker. You got to believe in yourself.
I didn't receive the joke box of Fig Newtons.
Well, you just wait. When you open the Milanos, a little spring snake will pop out.
Wow. Very good. Very good. I'm pleasantly surprised. Hey, do you guys notice? Were you all big Fig people growing up? Big Fig Newtons? Did you eat a lot of Fig Newtons growing
It
up?
happened later in my life, like in the latter half of my childhood, but not in the beginning. They were not around.
Okay.
I feel like at first, so it was always a thing my grandparents had. And when I was younger, I didn't like them because it sounded weird. But then, like, at some point, you sort of, like, acquiesce to the weird sounding food because it's the only dessert available. And then it turns out it's really good.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
I never had figs as ever. Like, if you put a fig in front of me, I would not recognize it. And so, like I said, I mainly had the strawberry or raspberry Fig Newtons. I very rarely had the actual Fig Newton. Which, by the way, if you notice on the package here, they're not called Fig Newtons anymore. They're just called Newtons now.
As of 2012.
Oh, look
Depressing.
at that. Yeah. I wonder if that has to do with the question I was getting at, which is, did they change the recipe for Fig Newtons? Like maybe when they rebranded? Because I remember the Fig Newtons of my childhood tasting different, especially the coating on the outside. They were softer.
Yeah.
They tasted more baked. They were better.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Matt. Like, I feel like the outer shell of these is like the Fig Newton version of the Vienna Fingers cracker. Like it's somehow super dry.
Well, it says here on the package, made with real fruit, no high fructose corn syrup, 5 grams of whole grain. I bet they messed with the recipe a little bit to make that happen.
Healthy them up. They almost taste like they almost taste like a breakfast bar now, like a fruit, one of those fruit-filled like Nutri-Grain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which I mean, they're not bad. I don't think it's it definitely didn't do it any favors, but they're not repulsive.
It's not a cookie. It's a pastry or a biscuit. It's not a cookie.
I would agree. It's not a cookie.
I don't know.
But if this isn't a cookie, then the Oreos are going to start to come into question here.
Yeah, then I think we're going down a dangerous path.
No.
If we start calling things not cookies, I don't know. This is going to be like another hot dog sandwich scenario.
We don't want to go down that road.
And do we really want to traipse into that territory?
I'm always down to traipse into that territory. Let's go.
Well, before we get too off the rails, I did want to share the history of the Fig Newton. Until the late 19th century, many physicians believed that most illnesses were related to digestion and recommended a daily intake of biscuits and fruit. Fig rolls were the ideal solution. They were locally produced and a handmade product until a Philadelphia baker and fig lover, Charles Roser, invented and then patented a machine in 1891 which inserted fig paste into thick pastry dough. The Kennedy Biscuit Company purchased his recipe and started mass production in Newton, Connecticut. That's where the name Newton comes from. Or Newton,
I always
Massachusetts.
thought it
I'm
was,
sorry, Newton, Massachusetts. I misread that.
Oh,
Sorry, Dan.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, I've never heard of Newton, Connecticut.
There is a Newton, Connecticut, isn't there?
I don't know. I've never heard of it either.
Sounds plausible.
It's
Newton,
definitely
Mass.
Newtown, Connecticut.
So how do you Mass people mispronounce that name? You know, like every Mass town.
Correct.
Newton.
Yeah.
It's not Newton.
Worcester, Quincy.
Newton.
Newtone.
Newton.
Newton.
Newtown.
Newton, Massachusetts.
No.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It's pronounced Pibbity. What? What? No. It's Peabody.
Boy, we're just pissing off everybody on this episode. We're making nobody happy.
We got opinions. Yeah, Fig Newtons.
Yeah. So what do we think on the Fig Newtons, Matt? How'd you score the Fig Newtons?
I'm, you know, if they had just improved the shell a little bit, I think these would be the immaculate cookie. But right now, I have to give it a 4 glass rating, maybe four milks and a half of a glass of milk, or a 1 glass of oat milk, depending on your measurement.
You just keep changing the scale, but that's okay, buddy. Whatever. It doesn't matter. All this is arbitrary.
Just put it down as 4 milks.
He liked it.
Milks.
He liked it. We'll just
It was very good. The shell, I want my soft shell back. Give me the soft shell back, and then we can talk about a 5.
Fair enough. Colby?
I'm gonna say like a 3.5. I ate a lot of these. My cookie shipment came a week ago, so I've had a week to get into these cookies, and I think I'm 50% through the Fig Newtons now. There's a strong nostalgia factor, but they're definitely worse than they used to be, which is a shame.
Yeah,
but,
most things are.
Yeah, I would rather eat these than the Chips Ahoy, and certainly the Vienna Fingers. Dear God, not the Vienna Fingers.
What about you, Dan?
I think 5 out of 5. I love Fig Newtons. I'm not sure why. I think I like fruit flavorings in general more than chocolate vanilla flavorings, so that's probably why.
Yeah, I think, for me, if I was eating the strawberry, although there's an apple cinnamon variety I would love to try. That sounds fascinating. But if I were eating one of the other flavors, I don't think I would. I like the fact that it's fig, because how often do you get to eat fig sweets? That's what's unique about it to me. Like a Vienna finger, we talked about how boring it was. The Fig Newton is the opposite. What an exciting cookie. 5 out of 5.
Vienna fingers could soup it up. They could start putting figs in there.
Fig Vienna fingers?
Vienna figs. You know the figs? Have you ever read about the wasp that pollinates figs?
No.
Google that. That's a fun Google. Maybe you want to do. Apparently, all figs are pollinated by these really horrific looking wasps that are huge and sometimes I don't think it happens anymore because of factories, but when figs used to be imported from other fig bearing countries, sometimes the wasp would get stuck inside the fig, and sometimes they would also be alive. And there were these horrible stories of people eating figs and getting attacked by these giant alien looking wasps.
They're called fig wasps.
Fig wasps, yes. There was a good documentary not too long ago on Netflix about them, but
wow,
are they related to murder hornets?
Oh, I hope not.
Although if you're gonna get murdered by something, a fig wasp.
I think murder hornets were just invented in a lab in 2020, just because it's 2020.
It's the start of a Michael Crichton story.
Yeah.
Alrighty. We're halfway there. We got some more cookies. It's my turn to choose, and I would like to bust in. Let's go to the cookie that remembers Pepperidge Farm, the Milanos. I believe we all have the double dark chocolate, which is what was available online. Again, another cookie that comes in a lot of varieties. while people are getting these and eating these, I'll pose a question out to the crew here. Where do you guys stand on yourself baking cookies? Does anyone here bake cookies a lot, or have any experience? Have a particular cookie they like to bake?
We've been baking more and more, and we haven't baked any cookies.
Macarons.
Our macaroon challenge.
Macaroon challenge.
Oh boy.
I'd rather be eating that than some of these cookies.
The messiest thing we've ever done on this show, for sure. Woo.
Whoa.
Never dipped in a Milano cookie in oat milk. Don't think I ever will again.
Yeah, they're already pretty soft.
Mm.
They taste kind of burnt.
Yeah, it's that dark chocolate.
Mm. I'm going to go to the Milano Cookies Instagram account.
Yeah, man, see what they're up to. I will say their Wikipedia page is one of the shortest I've ever seen, 4 sentences.
Wow. You're surprising for a company. And like a very well-known company, too.
Yeah, even the Pepperidge Farm page is pretty light.
What's their story?
The
What's
Milanos?
the story of the Pepperidge Farm?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. Margaret Rudkin began baking bread in 1937 for her youngest son, Mark, who had asthma and was allergic to most commercially processed foods. So she home-baked bread her allergic son could eat. Her son's doctor recommended giving it to his other patients and encouraged her to bake more bread. Her first commercial sale was to a local grocer in Fairfield, Connecticut. And yeah, there you go. Opened the first commercial bakery in 1947. And then in the 1950s, on a trip to Europe, Rudkin discovered fancy chocolate cookies she thought would be popular in the U.S. She bought the rights, and that went on to be the Milano and some of the other fancy cookies that they have.
Wait, that sounds like the story of 2 different companies. Like one is a very successful bread company, and the other is a very successful cookie company.
Why can't it be both?
But does Pepperidge Farm make bread?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
I didn't know that.
Well, they're
okay.
also the manufacturer of goldfish crackers as well.
Didn't know that.
Check out these pictures of extremely intricately decorated Milano cookies on the Milano Cookie Instagram. So this is like a frilly pink dress with buttons and a handbag and everything. Hashtag best dressed cookies.
Wow. What a sophisticated brand.
That sounds like a quarantine hobby for sure. Cookie dressing. It's for the people that are really, really, really desperate. They need to come up with an outlet besides just baking the cookies. They have to dress them up. What other flavors of Milanos have you guys tried, or do you like?
I've never tried these or any different variations.
I feel like I always see these in the store, and I look at them and I think to myself, like, or my subconscious thinks, "Oh, that's too fancy for me," and I don't get them.
Like Milano, the cookie that thinks it's better than you are. Come to think of it, they are always up on I would consider them like a top shelf cookie. Like Milano's
Right.
like the top shelf cookie.
Well,
it's
funny because the Pepperidge Farm people, they have 2 cookie categories. One is the farmhouse cookie, which is sort of your chocolate chip, your sort of standard approachable. But then they have the distinctive line, and that's where the Milano and European style cookies live. There's kind of, Matt, we talked about Pop-Tarts varieties on last week's episode. There are a shocking amount of Milano flavors, including coconut, caramel macchiato, candy cane, banana, Irish cream, orange, pumpkin spice, raspberry, strawberry, toasted marshmallow. I've had they have a mint chocolate that is actually very good. I have had that before.
Yeah, I've had the mint as well. My favorite, surprisingly, is the orange. I really
would
like
bet that's good. Chocolate
orange Milano is very good.
Chocolate orange is one of my favorite flavor. Am I the only one who ever had the chocolate orange that would come out around the
Oh,
holidays.
yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things.
Mm-hmm.
Slam dunk.
Yeah, it's great. You can find them in Target. I get them every year.
Yep, right
Really
next to
good.
the chocolate-covered cherries in the specialty
Yes.
holiday candy aisle.
Yeah, they're cool. They're good. They break off into like little pieces, like
Yep.
little orange pieces.
Yep.
They're great. Yeah.
What's fun is you have to smash it the first time, and that's how it breaks apart.
Yes, they're great
the best
frozen
part.
too.
Yes.
Sometimes they'll freeze.
Just suck on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
But now it wouldn't be good if you actually chocolate covered in orange, right? I think that would be kind of weird.
I think
I don't know.
if you took the peel off, I bet it
Yeah.
actually probably would be good.
I would just be like, I guess frozen would be the way to eat that.
Or you know what I would do is I would take like individual orange slices and like dip them in chocolate. Like that, I don't think you could just like take a whole ball of orange and just dump a bunch of chocolate on it. But I think like individual, sort of like those chocolate fondue fountains. Like you could definitely do an orange slice in there. I think that'd be good.
Yeah.
I would eat that.
The mint is pretty good too. Also
Yeah.
like the mint. Yeah.
Yep. Guys, what do we think of the Milanos? I'll go first. Certainly the most premium cookie that we've had so far this evening. I think the chocolate, we've got the double dark. It's very dark. But it tasted the most like real chocolate, although I have to see how much riboflavin's in it. Turns out some.
We're going to be loaded with riboflavin.
The
tonight.
first ingredient is semi-sweet chocolate. So,
Yeah, that's an improvement.
So it's a premium cookie. The issue I have with Milano and the Pepperidge Farm fancy cookies is I just feel like, this bag does not convey value to me because I'm not getting very many. I'm like that idiot. Like, I can get 100.
It does look
shitty
like a goldfish bag.
Well, it's like I can get 100 shitty Chips Ahoy or like 6 good cookies, and I'm like, this is a ripoff. I'll buy 100 crappy cookies I don't like. And so, so for that, I would say, yeah, I'll give it 4.5. They're good. They're good cookies. I don't know, Matt. What do you think?
I just realized how inaccessible Milanos are, right? So one of the cookies we're going to try, the Oreo, very accessible. You can kind of twist it and take the cream out. You can't do that with a Milano. It's because Milano has class. Milano has standards. Milano is just not. It's not going to let you do that to it. So you got to treat the Milano right. So I'm going to give it my highest rating of the night. I'm going to give it 4.5 milks.
I think maybe for the Milano, it should be out of like glasses of Chardonnay instead of, of a fine
Port.
blended whiskey.
Port. Yeah. Port.
What about you, Colby?
I think I'll give it a 4. I actually think I opened these earlier in the week. I think they're better now than they were when I opened them. I think they like benefited from a little staleness. Like I feel like they were drier when I first opened them, and now they're good, which is a kind of a nice feature in a mass market cookie.
Well, like wine, better with age.
Exactly.
Oh, it's a fine 2020 Milano.
Good year.
Good year, straight from the vine. What about you, Dan?
My least favorite cookie so far, I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5 glasses of milk. It's just maybe it's the double dark chocolate, but I feel like the biscuit part is just like it's a little spicy, I guess, which is kind of nice. But then the chocolate is super dark and bitter. It doesn't make me want to have another one. Maybe it'd be good with some coffee.
Yeah.
Maybe it's better with milk. I don't have milk. I'm just doing it with a cup of beer. So.
Yeah, you better like dark chocolate. That's why I said the double dark chocolate I probably wouldn't have purchased given the choice of all the flavors. It was just what was available. That it is dark. There's no doubt about it.
John, at some point you're going to have to give us the story of this delivery, because I would really maybe that could be for our Patreon listeners, but I just imagine you calling some kind of cookie dealer and like, listen, I got to get these cookies out different parts of the country. Like, how fast can you do it?
Well, look, here's the thing, right?
Well, it's going to cost you.
Everyone I talk to about this project, I'll call it, doesn't believe me when I explain the annoyance of having to track down these cookies, because they're like, Shaun, I can walk into any supermarket and buy cookies. And I say, that's right, but have you ever ordered just a single package of cookies online and have them shipped to your door?
I didn't know that was possible. I thought
it's not. That's the problem. And so first I went, because I could have gone to my local store and like UPS'd them to UPS'd them, but I was like, that's way too much hassle. So I went on Amazon. They had almost no selection, and what they did, everything was like the big giant like bulk size. And I'm like, your guys are gonna be throwing away enough cookies. I couldn't justify the family size. So then I went to like Target's website, and I looked. Finally, Walmart was the only one that had pretty much a competent selection. Again, not everything I wanted, but a competent selection. And the problem is, I ordered all four of us the exact same package from Walmart. Myself, Colby, and Dan shipped right away. Each person got 2 to 3 packages with cookies in them. Very annoying. Very stupid. But, Matt, yours, it just said delayed, and it was like that for 2 weeks. And it was like a couple days before the show. And then I realized I should have Instacarted everybody, because then I would have had the selection at your local store delivered to your door. And by the way, at the exact same cost as shipping them with Walmart. So, lesson learned.
Wow,
that's surprising. I thought the Walmart would have been cheaper than the Instacart.
Well, because and this was another thing. I don't mind buying all the cookies, but I didn't hit that free shipping level, and I'm like, oh, maybe I could send everybody some dumb shit and hit the shipping level. But I was like, it was like a $6 shipping charge, and I was off by like $15.
Send us like cans of soup or like just random things.
I did look. Don't laugh. I did look to see if they had any shirts or hats or anything that said like "I love cookies" on it or like Cookie Monster. Turns out those are all for children and would not fit any of you.
I still would have worn one.
But no, it was like a $6 delivery charge at Walmart or a $6 Instacart delivery fee.
Yeah, I was gonna say, could you just tell the Instacart person, just give me a bunch of random stuff like to make it equal this total? Like, just grab random things from the shelf.
That's an awesome idea. I don't think the app lets you do that, but they should. Like a roulette wheel of food.
Randomize. Like randomize your entire grocery list.
I just want food.
Yes.
I'll figure it out later. Just put a bunch of crap in a bag. Make it total like $60. I'll figure it out.
Now, Shaun, this begs the question: what cookies, like, given your full way with things, what cookies would we have been eating?
So it's a good question. Definitely the Oreo, the Chips Ahoy, the Fig Newtons. Probably a Pepperidge Farm varietal you would have gotten. I probably would have, like I said, the EL Fudge I would have liked to have had. And our international selection, I really was hoping, have you guys ever done Tate's? Which is sort of the new hot sort of millennial cookie, if you will.
I have some Tate's chocolate chip cookies here right now.
Yeah, that was
on my delicious.
And I've never had them. So I was excited to try them because I know people are really excited, but you can't buy them online anywhere.
That wouldn't have been fair, I think. Like, Tate's are so much better than... I think the Chips Ahoy would have just like curled up in shame right there. The whole box would have just like shriveled.
But I will say,
good.
They're less like mass market cookie varieties than you would think. Like there really aren't, like this genuinely is a pretty good selection. There really aren't that many others we could have gotten. And if we did, it was like, Oreo has a million flavors, but they're all the same format cookie. So I feel good about our selection. Other than the Vienna fingers, nothing's really
widespread.
Bombed. Although some people like the Vienna. They're all good. And we have the Mac Daddy of cookies coming up next, guys. The best-selling cookie in America. Introduced in 1912. The original chocolate sandwich cookie, the Oreo.
The original.
Now, Walmart only had for Dan, Colby, and I the Halloween Oreos. Now, I do want to stress, it's the same flavor. They're just colored orange. Matt, which ones did you get? Just regular Oreos?
Yeah, I just have the standard. The old standby
here. See, we've got this, and I'm going to go so far as to say upsetting-looking orange filling. Like, it genuinely contrasts very poorly with the chocolate cookie.
Now, did you choose this orange filling on purpose, or is that just what was available?
In a plain flavor, this was all they had.
Wow.
Because I would have gone classic white. But this was what was available.
Am I going to be the only one to do the Oreo twist?
Yeah, probably.
I'm doing it.
I don't want my tongue to get all orange.
Oh.
Now, Matt, why do you like doing the twist?
I like to mix it up. I usually twist the first one just because you get to enjoy the cream in the middle first, and then you get to have like the cookie separate. I believe they both should be kept separate
Okay.
but equal. That's a sound bite for you.
We will clip that.
Yeah. Goodbye, career.
We hardly knew you.
Yeah, never really, got off the ground. So
Definitely would not play well. No.
My favorite thing to do with Oreos is to like take the sides off two and then you put them together and you have a double.
you monster.
I mean, I like to have fun. What do you want?
No, Colby's 100% right about that. You make your own double stuff, and then if you have the double stuff, you make your own quadruple stuff.
Right. And so on and so forth. You have the mega stuff, you know.
Really could. Yes.
Is it disgusting? Yes. Is it the correct thing to do? Also, yes.
I mean, at that point, why don't you just get like a bunch of any cookie and a tub of frosting, and you're kind of on your way? I mean, that's my thing about Oreos, is I feel like if they just offered the chocolate sandwich cookies or just offered the filling, I don't think anyone would care. I think they're only good because they're together.
Yeah. And I will probably get to it, I'm sure, but like there's no substitute for an Oreo. You know, like I feel like the knockoff brands, like I want to say it's called oxycodone, but that's not what it's called. What's the name of the Hydrox? Yes, that's it. They just don't taste the same. There's something kind of off about them, right? I associate those cookies and the Vienna fingers with what they would probably serve at like an AA meeting or like some kind of public function.
Well, it's America's best-selling cookie. I mean, you can't avoid it. It's a default cookie. If someone said, "Hey, grab a pack of cookies," the Hydrox.
The Oreos for the good stuff. The
Hydrox. Have you ever had Hydroxes?
I have. They're not bad. They're just like they're very palatably the knockoff brand.
Which is funny because they came first.
Yes, but they taste like the knockoff.
Oh, you're muted, Dan. Or we can't hear you.
Sorry.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have a pretty controversial opinion on Oreos.
Ooh.
Unsurprisingly. Yeah. Uh-huh. Which is that the original classic Oreo is the worst flavor of Oreo. I don't know how you guys feel about the million Oreo varietals that have come out over the last decade, but I think the classic Oreo is a mediocre cookie. I don't think on its own, the format is great. I like the idea of a cream-filled sandwich cookie, but doing it in just chocolate or the Vienna fingers in just vanilla is not a great cookie.
I mean, I'll be totally honest. I haven't really had that many varieties of Oreos to compare, but I think you might be onto something. I really like the chocolate stuffed Oreos. Those are very good.
Well, and I know this kind of counteracts my point, but actually, given the choice between a regular Oreo and a golden Oreo, its vanilla counterpart, I'd probably go golden Oreo.
Do they still call those Oreos?
No, I think they're just golden Oreo.
It's a golden.
They used to call them Oreos.
A golden Oreo, it's the same filling as a regular Oreo, but with a vanilla cookie instead of chocolate. So it's a gold color.
Oh.
I don't know, man. I think there's one thing that's better than a regular Oreo, and it's a double stuffed Oreo. And that's all.
You're just in it for the stuffing.
It's just like the pinnacle of shitty store-bought cookie. Like, everything about it is good. The texture is good. It's not too dry. The flavor is amazing. You can do stuff with it. There are activities to be had.
It's an interactive cookie.
It's fun.
Awesome with milk, right? Like,
it is a dipping cookie. I 100%
it's a great
agree.
cookie to dip.
So
I'm
good.
sure they constructed it that way in the lab. Where it was made.
Scientifically.
I want to see a photo of one of those Oreos from 1912.
Oh, what did
it
the
look
original
like?
ones? I don't know. That's a good question.
Probably looked like a real cookie, like a.
It's just
something you would
it's just
actually
a
want
chocolate chip cookie. It's changed a lot over the years. Yeah, I think our next Cookie Crumble taste challenge is I'm going to get everybody a bunch of Oreo varieties.
Yeah.
And we're going to taste them. The cinnamon bun Oreos are far and away my absolute favorite. A cinnamon cookie with frosting, like icing flavored cream.
That sounds great.
Awesome cookie.
It's kind of cool because you could, like Colby said, they're very customizable. You could play with them. Like you could put half of a cinnamon Oreo on like half of a chocolate, or you could just go nuts.
Well, because you get the two flavors out of the cookie and the frosting, so you have a lot more options than another kind of cookie.
Sure, buy like 6 bags of Oreos and just have yourself an afternoon. For sure.
Now, what other
made
foods
it
have
all.
activities associated with them?
Tacos. Taco Tuesday.
To be fair,
That's
though,
actually-
I'm pretty sure any food Matt eats has activities with them.
I was gonna say, what food doesn't have an activity?
I
Well,
mean,
I guess
pizza, you kind of just eat the pizza, right? You get the pizza and then you
You
eat
got to
it.
fold it
Pizza,
in
like-
half.
Making it is kind of the activity there.
All right, but if you just got like a takeout pizza.
Mega pizza.
What's that?
2 slices of pizza folded together. Make sure you neatly kind of crease it, making like a mega calzone.
I was about to
essentially.
say you invented a calzone.
But you you crimp it around the edges like some sort of pastry?
Yeah, just to make sure that it all stays together.
And then you put that icing right in the middle.
Pour that nacho cheese all over it. Speaking of nacho cheese, I'm not proud of this at all. I'm going to admit it, though. When I was I think it was high school, I was dared by a friend to dip an Oreo in nacho cheese.
Okay.
And I did. I ate it. It really wasn't bad.
Not
It was
not in the
it was
slightest
not, It was not
surprise.
the worst thing in the world.
It does sound like a sweet and salty kind of thing. Sweet and
Yeah.
savory.
Not something that I ever did again or wanted to sought out. It didn't become a thing, but people usually I've seen people dip Oreos in peanut butter. I've seen them dip it in fluff, maybe Nutella or something like that.
Yeah.
Mm.
But
Now I have a funny food story for you. This was not me, but someone I met once. We were talking about things like this, and the kind of crazy stuff that you'd eat regularly in college. And his favorite meal was something he discovered one day when you make your standard college bowl of pasta, right? He didn't have any pasta sauce to put on it. But the only other thing that he had been eating pretty much was Red Bull. So he's like, I could just pour the Red Bull into the pasta bowl. And apparently he was like, it's great. Like you get like a little bit of a sweetness, but not too much. And you get all of your caffeine and you're getting your sustenance.
wait, was there sauce on this pasta?
No, the Red Bull
Red
was
Bull
the sauce.
was the sauce? I don't know. I don't
mean,
know how I feel about that.
If Matt thinks your food concoction is gross, you've gone to a whole nother level.
And yeah, you've crossed the line for sure with that.
Now, Dan, have you tried this yourself?
I have not tried this. I haven't had a Red Bull since long before I was told about this.
Wow.
Yeah. That sounds
But
dangerous.
maybe I'll get to that point in quarantine boredom.
Somehow, like, that just... It seems like it violates so many laws.
Yeah, but
of
it doesn't.
nature.
It doesn't even make sense. Like honestly, if how those two things connect to one another is what's baffling to me. Because I can think of 100 other things you could put on pasta. Be like, I guess those are both. Like what? That sounds like something you accidentally knock into the other thing.
It's really cursed. I think cursed is the word I'd use to describe it.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Well,
Not only does it not make sense, but the more you think about it, the more you can't stop thinking about it.
and it's also
Yes.
it's not even like a sauce. It's like a straight up liquid.
It's a beverage. So
You,
at that
you don't
point,
like
why not
reduce the
pour
Red
beer
Bull
in
or something.
pasta?
Make a Red Bull reduction.
Yeah. Like something on Chopped. You have to. Your ingredients are this
Pasta and Red Bull.
pasta and Red Bull. Screw you.
Yeah,
buddy.
we deglaze the pan with Red Bull.
I was gonna say,
Figure
if
it
the
out.
ingredients were just pasta and Red Bull, how many different dishes could you make?
Flavor combinations.
Maybe you put the pasta in the Red Bull can somehow. It becomes some sort of fancy.
Turn the pasta into the beverage and drinking
Liquefy.
pasta and Red Bull.
A slurry, a thick slurry. Guys, what do we think of Oreos here, Matt?
We said before that I guess Chips Ahoy is America's favorite cookie, which turned out not to be true because more people eat Oreos. It also says on the box that it's Milk's favorite cookie. Well, it's not my favorite cookie. I would say that it is really like the old standby cookie. It's the old faithful cookie. If I were stranded somewhere millions of miles away from my home, like on the far reaches of the galaxy, and I was really like craving some kind of like cookie from Earth to remind me of what Earth cookies taste like, I'd probably reach for an Oreo. So I'm going to go ahead and give this one 4 milks.
Okay, which is like what, 12 oat milks?
Sure. I can't even keep track anymore. I'm out of oat milk. I have to get more oat milk.
Colby, what about you?
5 milks. I think of this kind of cookie, like there are like real like made in an oven, like not a factory, like at your house cookies that I would much rather eat than any of these. But like of this, the like store, buying the store mass produced cookies, I don't think you can go wrong with an Oreo.
Fair enough, Dan.
4.5 milks. The best of all the cookies that we've tried. I agree. I completely agree with Colby. Of the store-bought cookies, except maybe the possibility of Tate's, there's none better. Although the problem with Tate's, you only get 5 cookies in a box, so it's like
Premium.
Oof.
yeah, maybe it's not 5, but
it is a little
not
bit
many.
of a rip-off. Yeah.
The only thing that I think I like about Fig Newtons better is Fig Newtons at least feel healthier. So I always feel better after eating 10 Fig Newtons than 10 Oreos.
That's fair.
That's true. But I could down an entire sleeve of Oreos before I could Chips Ahoy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
I think
Oh, have we
Yes.
tried Have you all tried frozen Oreos?
no.
I have not. Frozen
I don't-
Oreos.
You just put them in the freezer and then try eating them, and it gives them a very different texture, and they can also be a little bit refreshing when it's hot outside. I completely forgot until just now, but that was the thing I did all the time as a kid.
Nice.
I'm gonna put these in my freezer after.
I think that, yeah, I'm going to do the
Well,
exact
now
same
I'm gonna
thing.
put all
I
these
really wanna
cookies
try
in the
that.
freezer and see if they're all good for you.
All right, we're doing it again next week, but the new twist,
They're all frozen. Then next week we'll microwave all of them. Let's try them different ways.
hot
We're gonna
cookies.
have to chip in to get Colby a microwave.
Yeah.
Uh,
Put a GoFundMe out
I will
there.
say, have you guys done? I actually like fried Oreos. I think they're good.
I think
I
I had
feel
fried
like I have-
Oreos at the Big E.
Yes, but that's the only time they're good. If you go to like a like a bar or something and they like weirdly like fry their own or something, like don't get them there. But if you're at like a state fair where they have like the real deep fryer, pretty good.
That's a Jersey Shore favorite right there. And as a New Jersey native now, I feel like I have to say that they're good, but even I can't really confirm that.
Yeah.
There's only so much New Jersey cuisine that I can justify, and pork roll is kind of the limit. So pork roll and scrapple. But I can't go beyond that and say that I enjoy fried Oreos. I don't know.
Wait, there's New Jersey cuisine?
Yeah. Pork roll.
You've never been on a culinary tour of New Jersey?
No.
Yeah, we gotta get you some Taylor ham, my friend.
That's something we should do for the Patreon.
I would love that. I love pork roll. Now, when I think about Oreos, just as a very quick aside, that explains my score. But growing up, I was a big fan of Journey, the band Journey. I thought they were great. I still think they're great. And people thought it was dumb that I liked Journey. And then Don't Stop Believing got weirdly popular for some reason all of a sudden. And after that, I used to love that song. And then after everyone started liking it, I don't really like that song. I still love Journey. I love all their other music, but I just don't ever listen to that song anymore. That's how I feel about Oreos. I think they taste good, but now that they're so popular and it's everyone's default cookie, it just doesn't excite me. I guess that's why the flavors excite me, because it's something different. So I'm going to give it is a 5-glass cookie, but I'm going to give it 4 because that's how I feel about it. Like, it is a very good cookie, but I'm just kind of over it.
The Don't Stop Believing of cookies.
It is. Well, and the other thing, too, is I really don't like their new slogan they have on the package, which is orange-colored cream, same taste. Not catchy.
Yeah, that's not a very inspiring...
No, I don't get it.
Weird.
Anyway, guys...
Why? Maybe if you have to explain that, you shouldn't do it.
Well, I was going to say, for a company that is now known for having multiple flavors... Like, maybe don't do the orange, then actually make it taste like orange, right? Or pumpkin, make it taste like pumpkin or something.
Pumpkin Oreos.
The pumpkin spice
Have you guys
Oreo.
ever had the Oreo cereal? Oreo O's?
I did try it. It was nauseating.
Yeah. I remember I
remember that.
Oreo O's. When they first came out, I convinced my mom to buy me a box of Oreo O's. And I had them, and I remember, I was halfway through the bowl, and I remember thinking, oh, this is why, my parents never bought me sugary cereals. Because I feel like crap after eating, I never had, Fruit Loops or Fruity Pebbles or anything like that. Or cereals were pretty much like Honey Bunches of Oats or, Cheerios, your garden variety. Once in a while, the sugary ones made an appearance. But after eating Oreos, I finally understood. That's why you don't mess with the dessert cereals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a big Reese's Puffs kid, which was not much better.
Yeah.
Nice. When's the dessert cereals challenge?
I would look, since this was so far anyway a raving success, and now that I know I can Instacart food to anyone's house, we may be doing more of these. Don't count. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send you each a raw ham, or something really ridiculous.
Cooking challenge.
Thanksgiving dinner.
Yes.
I like that. Shaun sends us each a mystery meat, and we have to make something of it.
That could be
it's
very
the Up
fun.
for Debate Iron Chef challenge.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Beef tongue.
I would pay money to watch Matt do that. Well, guys, one cookie left in our Cookie Crumble extravaganza, and I got to be honest, I know people are going to say, hey, Shaun, this isn't a cookie, or Shaun, this is kind of a weird choice. I will say when you search cookie on Walmart.com, this comes up, so suck on that. But I did it because this is an absolute personal favorite of mine. I'm nuts for stroopwafels. The Dutch classic, popular in the Netherlands. Pretty much the only reason I fly United Airlines is because instead of giving you peanuts or pretzels, now they give you stroopwafel. There we go. These thin wafer cookies with a caramel filling in between. Nice, big, probably our biggest cookie of the night. but also the thinnest. Mm-mm.
Do yours all have the serial number on the little twist tie?
Oh, yeah. Look at that. Where'd my twist tie go?
I got 4190.
I got
Actually, yeah.
716. Some of mine are rubbed off.
I got help. I am trapped in the Stroop Waffle factory. I am turning into a Dutchman. Come save me, huh?
And what's weird is that was all in Dutch. So, Matt, those lessons are really paying off.
That's right. That's right. My Dutch Duolingo.
Now, I know we talked about, like, some of us dug into our cookies before the start. This was the only one I dug into, and I now only have, like, one left. Because I ate all of them. Because I couldn't resist. So, this was one of those things back when I was going to the Netherlands. The locals would bring them into the office each day from, like, an actual bakery in the Netherlands where they, like, made them that morning. And to be honest, they're not, like, miles better than these mass-produced ones. They're definitely better. But I just have a fondness for them. I don't know. Have you guys been fans of Stroopwafel or any other international cookie? Might be a good opportunity to mention that if something comes to mind.
I know that Stroopwafels are really big in Manhattan right now. They have like Stroopwafel carts and trucks.
Oh yeah.
I noticed them a couple years ago. I had a Stroopwafel from them, and I kind of agree with your assessment, Sean. It's like they're still really, those are good, but they're not much better than these that come from the box. The strategy with my Stroopwafel, I always like to have a cup of coffee handy. And you got to put the Stroopwafel. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to do this. This is how I'm going to do my Saturday morning. You put the Stroopwafel and rest it on top of the mug so it gets all steamy, and you read the morning paper while you do that. Or in my case, you watch cartoons or something.
Yeah.
Your favorite YouTuber. Do something on a Saturday morning and just chill and eat a Stroopwafel.
Like the Dutch boy you are.
Yes. Is this the greatest thing the Dutch have ever done? I think so.
This and windmills. ABBA? No, they're Swedish. Oops.
The only other international cookie that's coming to mind is a Tim Tam.
Oh yeah.
Tim Tam's a good.
Where
cookie.
are those from?
UK, Australia.
I think they're Australia. I've definitely had those before.
Australia, yeah.
Those are good.
And then you can perform a Tim Tam slam.
What's that?
You bite two holes on either end of a Tim Tam, and then you drink your milk via the Tim Tam.
Oh.
Also known as the Tim Tam shotgun, Tim Tam bomb, Tim Tam explosion, Tim Tam bong, and Tim Tam suck. It's the practice of drinking a hot beverage through a Tim Tam.
Gross.
Wow. Wow. I think the only time I've ever actually had Stroopwafels is on a United Airlines flight.
Isn't that? And you know, it's so funny because every time the attendant looks at me and they'll give you the choice to be like pretzel. No, it's Stroopwafel, biscuit, or pretzels, I think is what they offer you. And I look at them like, why would you even ask? You know I want a Stroopwafel.
I wouldn't trust anybody that picks the other two. I just wouldn't trust them.
It's a sick joke. You're like, I can have a pretzel everywhere. I'm on a United Airlines flight, okay? This is a premium experience. Now, there are varieties of Stroopwafel. Wafers with honey instead of syrup are sold as Honing waffles, and cookies with a caramel syrup are sold as Stroopkoeken. I also learned when I ordered Matt's on Instacart that they also make, which I'm dying to try, mini Stroopwafels that come in like a big bag, and they're like more of an Oreo size. And I'm like, as much as I love the big ones, I'm like, I would just mow through those.
Crushing a bag of Stroopwafels.
Oh my god.
Now they come eight to a pack, but I feel justified in that. Like they're big, so like you wouldn't you wouldn't feel. I don't feel cheated, like
Right.
I do with Tate's. Like Tate's cookies are just typical chocolate chip cookie size, so it's like only 5 is kind of like I feel cheated, but these are enormous. They're like the size of the palm of my hand, so I feel like it's a good treat. It's also the only thing here that I feel confident I could eat like a breakfast and not be completely ashamed of myself.
Oh, sure. I mean, they're
You
light.
could have it like as your breakfast meal, and not be like, what have I done? How did I become this?
Mm-hmm. It's the brown sugar in the cookie that goes really well with the caramel, and so it's not overly sweet, and you can really taste the caramel.
Yeah, it's like a tasty pastry for breakfast.
Yeah. So mixing it
Still,
up. Yeah, go ahead,
yeah.
Bobby.
I still haven't heard of these Tate's cookies before.
They come in the green bag.
I used to get them at Bed Bath and Beyond. I think that was like that was the first place I noticed them. It was in the Beyond section, I think. Like the market.
Well, they're
that was the
bath
first place I
cookies.
noticed them, but now they're pretty much everywhere. If you go to your local cookie aisle, they come in a green package. They're called Tate's or Tate's Bakery. They have a couple of varieties. There's chocolate chip. There's oatmeal, raisin. There's sugar. I think sugar cookie. I think I like the chocolate chip the best, but
Okay.
they're good. They're very crispy. If you like a crispy cookie, they're not as dry as or salty as Chips Ahoy. It's like what
All right.
it's very close to homemade, I think.
Yeah.
But
So what do we think of Stroopwafel, guys? Matt.
Stroop waffles are great. Greatest thing that the Dutch ever did.
Clearly.
It truly a credit to their people, and I stand by that assessment. 5 milks out of 5. I just don't know how you improve upon this. This is, it's great.
Oh, yeah, and
it's truly
Matt's a scholar
work
of
art.
history, so he would know.
It's a work of art. Historically, the greatest cookie I think ever made. I don't even think that's hyperbole. It's got to be.
It's a simple
they're
fact.
So good. They're so good. Or that could just be all the sugar like catching up with me that I've eaten so far. in my brain. But that's what I would say. Great cookie.
Great cookie. All right, Colby, what do you think?
I think 4.5. It's really good. Really good. Not quite like, I'm sure like a fresh out the bakery stroopwafel is like wild, but
Wild.
like for store bought stuff.
I mean, don't put down the Dalemans. You got to remember, Colby, these are the authentic stroopwafels they sell in Amsterdam airport. So it's as close as you're gonna get to a real Dutch treat.
Yeah, I believe it. Super good. I did have them with my coffee on a different day, like my afternoon coffee, and that was pretty good.
It's a
That was
tea time. It's a tea time treat.
Oh yeah.
Dan, what about you?
I think with coffee, a 5. Without coffee, a 3. Like I think these are I just ate one by itself. I've had lots of stroopwafels with beverages, and I definitely ascribe to the put it on top of the coffee cup method. But without it, it's just like a little stodgy. Like it's just like you're kind of nom, nom, nom. It's a lot of work. It's a lot to get through.
It's a big
Pretty
cookie.
kludgy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, let me ask you this. So, as I said, I've been eating them all week, but mostly what I've been eating them with is actually beer. Now, you're the only one of us tonight who's been consuming these cookies with beer. Which cookie so far has gone best with beer for you?
Well, I think the Fig Newton goes well because it is that little bit of like fruit, and this is like an IPA. Honestly, you're right. Taking a drink of the beer with a stroopwafel is pretty good, but I think I would go with the Fig Newton. Maybe that's why I still liked it so much.
Yeah, the Fig I think is a good pair for a beer.
Fig Newton, beer's favorite cookie. Pitch that.
What a radical departure from their past marketing. Where it's like, we're going to go after the alcoholic crowd. Just all of a sudden, bars like have bowls of Fig Newtons up on the counter.
Is this a question? Beer's favorite cookie?
Did they like poll beer? You can't even prove that. Yeah, for me, Stroopwafel, I'm gonna give it 6 out of 5 glasses. But I also think it's bullshit comparing it to these other cookies. And I'll say it, I bought them, so I can say that. Yeah, but it's not a cookie, and I like them, and I thought it would be fun to include them. But I don't think it's really fair to compare it to the other cookies because it is such a radical departure from everything else. But they're fantastic, and I love them.
Yeah, I almost felt like instead of giving it cups of milk, we should have given it like mugs of coffee. 5 mugs.
Of Dutch espresso?
Yeah. Dan's really, he was on to something. I think that if, with coffee, this would be like above and beyond a 5. This would enter like a new realm.
Yeah.
Great with coffee.
Yeah, it's a cafe snack.
Guys,
that's it for cookies. We made it through all of them somehow. I feel very nauseous. I can't vouch for anyone else.
Yeah, I feel lightheaded.
But I
Stroopwafel stage, I started to get a little slowed down. Maybe that affected my...
All the milk. I had a pint glass of milk. I think it was the dairy that might have done it.
You had a big milk, Sean.
I was such a friggin' idiot.
Lots of milk.
Well, guys, before we begin to wrap this up, why don't we just quickly go around... We don't have to rank all 6, but if anyone had any real standouts or real sort of disappointments, Dan, maybe you can go first. Any final thoughts on our cookie selection this evening?
I was a bit surprised that I still liked Oreos. I hadn't had an Oreo in forever. But I honestly think, and this isn't saying a lot, but my standout may have been the Vienna fingers, not because they're particularly good, but because they were way less bad than I thought they would be. If Vienna fingers were around, I would eventually eat all of them.
Wow,
for sure. Yeah,
that's good.
I feel like I had the exact opposite experience of the Vienna fingers. Like, I opened the box and I was like, "Ooh, I bet those are gonna be good." Like, I can't quite remember. And then I took one bite and I was like, "Wow, this is disgusting." Like, I can't even. Ew.
Oh, Colby, you have my address.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll mail you the rest of my Vienna fingers.
What were those little what were they like I forget what they're like, those little circular like antacids basically, but they were treated like cookies.
Are you thinking of Cookie Crisp?
No. They taste like Tums. They're basically like
Smarties.
Wait, I think the first one you said.
Necco wafers.
Necco wafers, yes. The vanilla, the Vienna fingers reminded me so much of like a vanilla version of those, because it's like, why am I snacking on antacid tablets? Eating maybe it was just the texture. Maybe I think the texture of the Vienna fingers reminded me of that.
Well,
are those cookies? Would you consider
Necco wafers? Absolutely, not even close. Not even in the same realm as they're candy.
But they're wafers. Isn't a wafer a cookie?
No, a wafer's a name.
It's just a name.
They're not.
I feel like a wafer is a shape. Like it's like a flat circle. That's a wafer.
Yeah. That's true.
Wow, we're really getting into like taxonomy and epistemology of all this stuff. What even is something?
That's right.
What is a cookie?
Is anything a cookie? Are we all cookies?
An hour and a half into this episode, let's start debating what is a cookie.
Let's get into the weeds on what a cookie is. Texture-wise, though, the Dutch classic, you can't beat that texture. I just think it's so good.
Man, I wish you could peel the Stroopwafel apart, though.
Make a double stuffed Stroopwafel.
It's classy like the Milano. It will not be split.
I love it. Leave it to Colby to invent the double stuffed Stroopwafel.
One cookie undivided.
The double Stroopwafel.
Quadruple stuffed Stroopwafels.
Although, to be honest, and I'm, again, getting more nauseous thinking about it, I bet you could make a pretty rockin' dessert if you just took Stroopwafels, stacked them up, and put a layer of frosting between each. Now, it would be sickeningly sweet.
Like vanilla ice cream sandwich.
Yeah. Cooking with Stroopwafels.
Man.
I would say, I mean, I knew I loved stroopwafels coming in. I think my surprises of the night were the Fig Newtons, which I was like, I hadn't had these in forever, and I actually really was surprised at how much I liked them. And I don't think you guys agreed as much as I actually like the Milanos. Again, would I get them all the time? No, but I thought the chocolate was really good on those, and it was a departure. That's what, like the Chips Ahoy and the Oreo just don't do it for me because they're too standard, they're too predictable, they're too average. Even the Vienna Fingers, at least they're kind of different. Now, maybe not in a good way, but they're at least going for something.
Yeah, I think it all depends on a mood. And I don't know.
Yeah. I think one thing I will say is, like, I feel like the Oreos are, like, the only cookie that isn't worse than I remember it being.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think that's your most predictable, safe cookie.
Yeah.
Like if someone said to you, hey, come to the party and you're on the list, you got to bring some cookies. Like, I think if you brought Oreo, you would be perfectly fine.
And no one's going to be mad.
Yeah, that's very, very inoffensive.
Yep.
You know what they would be offended at?
Stroopwafel, they hate the Dutch.
No, well, maybe. I mean, who doesn't? But I think they would be probably offended at the Tates because there's only 5 of them. It's like so they have to decide who gets these 5 cookies.
That's like a Sean Jennings party. You'd have 3 extra cookies. Awesome. Well, any other thoughts on cookies and the Cookie Crumble before we wrap this up?
I think this is a great episode. Rousing success. I like getting free stuff in the mail. So if you ever want to have another mail-in episode.
Well, Matt, we've got to announce the contest right here. One lucky fan is going to win all of our leftover cookies. So please, upfordebatetv@gmail.com, send us your address, and we may ship you a box of half-eaten cookies.
I'll even throw in a gallon of oat milk on that.
Wow, generous. Generous.
Now, what brand oat milk do you get?
I like the oat. I can't think because all the cookies are going to my brain right now. It's the original oat milk.
Swedish one, Oatly?
I think so. I have to see the cart.
The snarky marketing?
Oh, I'm just typing in oat milk. I'm going to see what comes up. Oat milk brands. The one I buy.
Farmer Oats.
It's Planet Oat. Planet Oat. That's the one.
Oh,
I've had Oatly before. It's not my favorite. I've been relying on Planet Oat.
Planet Oat is one of the big ones because I think that's the brand Dunkin' Donuts is using in all their stores now with oat milk.
Yes, I think it is because it tastes exactly the same. I've started getting it, and I think Sean, your assessment that you made in last week's episode was pretty on point. I think or this might have just been something we talked about before the episode. The oat milk in your coffee, iced coffee is very good,
yes,
but not as good in your hot coffee.
No, it's better in cold beverages.
It is. In my hot coffee, I go for the almond milk now.
Smart. That's the way to do it. Slam dunk.
Yeah.
You can even dump an Oreo in that. Guys, 2 quick things before we wrap up. Colby and Dan, anything you'd like to plug as our guests this evening? I assume that's why you came on, to promote a project? Or...
No, I came on for the honor of being here.
Oh.
Yeah. I was just here for the treats.
Oh. Well, look, hey, any time I can send you guys some cookies. You just ask. I know where you all live.
Yeah, no.
But I do want to plug, of course, Don't Panic at don'tpanic.io, the tech podcast myself, Colby, and Dan do. If you liked what we did tonight, you may like that. And next week, we're covering the Apple event from this past week. So it's going to be a really great episode. That's every Monday night we do that. So you're going to want to check that out. The other thing, guys, Colby and Dan, you're going to have one other special task this evening. You're going to help choose what next week's episode is.
Okay.
Oh,
The
baby.
final week of Shaun-tember, I have a couple ideas, but I can't really settle. So I'm going to give you sort of a vague description, and I'm going to let you pick, okay?
Okay.
So would you like to see us do a creative challenge? Would you like to see us do I haven't come up with a better name for this, but a look to the future, like we did where we talked about the future of movies. We talked about coronavirus and the future. So it'd be a topic, and they'll look at what the future of it is. Or would you like to see a bracket challenge?
Oh. I mean, bracket challenge.
Now, I will give you a hint, which is that the bracket challenge is probably the weakest of the three.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And I think it would still be good.
We're not doing a soup versus salad rematch?
Absolutely. Not after that debacle. Honestly, Matt, what we're going to do is we're going to do a bracket of all of our past bracket winners and see which is the worst bracket winner.
The most controversial episode of this show we've ever done was the soup and salad.
But the funny thing is, all of our bracket challenges have been controversial.
We had tons of mostly negative feedback about that episode.
Our best SNL sketch bracket was a disaster. Our best U.S. landmark bracket was a disaster.
That one, I would agree, that was a triumph. We selected the Brooklyn Bridge as the best U.S. landmark.
We got a lot of flack for that. What else?
I support that.
The Fears bracket we did was the only good one we ever did.
Fears was
the best novelty song bracket was a disaster.
Wait, I've already lost. What were the options again?
It's a
creative
challenge.
Oh yeah,
a creative challenge, a look to the future analysis, or a bracket challenge.
My vote is for creative challenge.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to say anything more about the creative challenge, but I feel like the creative challenges, while they can be a disaster, they are often not disaster in a controversial way. They're usually disaster in a funny way.
Well, they're usually either really great or really bad, and never in between.
Yeah. And either way is great, because if it's really bad, I find them usually pretty funny.
I think our legendary example was the board game.
I was just going to say.
Design the board game.
But also our minor league baseball team. I think one of our best episodes we've ever done.
Yeah, that was true. And the commercial. The
commercials was fun. Yeah.
All right. I could get on board with the creative challenge.
Okay. Fair enough. The bracket was going to be on the best vegetable. We were going to compare the vegetables, which I thought might end up being a little boring and a little repetitive after food this week. We were going to talk about the future of sports, which maybe we'll do in a future episode. But Matt, next week, you and I are going to brainstorm and design our own bars.
Whoa. Okay.
So start thinking now. I will remind people we did a restaurant creative challenge that was a disaster. Including, I believe, Matt, a restaurant you invented where a robot sits in the middle and randomly murders people who eat there. It goes berserk every so often and it kills somebody.
Yes.
Now,
I will say it chases them around the restaurant, and if they don't leave in time, it murders them. But
it's a way to keep the tables clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you would eat in fear constantly, and the robot would be very nice. It was like a robot chef, and he would be nice the rest of the time, cook great food. You'd have a great time. But God forbid you be there when it goes berserk.
Now, this calls into question, when you're eating at the restaurant, are you eating the former patrons?
Oh,
that's all part of the thrill, Dan. You don't know. It's all part of the thrill. I personally really like the hotel that I designed. Do you remember that one?
No.
The hotel.
No.
Where it was one room selected at completely random has
seeing a theme.
One room that is completely selected at random. The patron doesn't know, but their walls are completely transparent, but only from one way. It's like a one-way mirror, so everybody can see everything going on in the room at all times. But if you are that patron and you stay in that room, you get to stay in that hotel for free at a different room of your choosing.
Oh, at a future visit?
In a future visit.
Yeah. Maybe I'll change the topic between this week and next week. Let me. I'm going to think on that. But at least this episode was pretty straightforward. A lot of sweet treats and a couple of sweet guests. Colby and Dan, thanks for being here. I can't believe it's been so long, and we got to have you back again very soon.
Yeah. We got to re-up the D&D.
We do. Well, honestly, and really my dream has always been, we got to get Matt on Don't Panic. The issue is we tape that at the impossibly late hour of 10 p.m. for this guy, who I think is waking up to go to work at that hour.
Yeah. Since we don't have commutes anymore, I'm pretty sure that Colby and something could be arranged.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
We could work it out.
I would love that.
That would be pretty cool. Any day that we can make that happen would be a dream, like 7 years in the making.
Absolutely wonderful.
Or however long we've been doing this for. It's been a very long time.
Yeah, we've been doing this show, I think, for like 4 years, 4 or 5. And Don't Panic, we've been doing for like 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm. That would be cool. And I agree. We should absolutely re-up game nights in D&D.
Well, you know what's crazy is we are, if you look at the podcast, this show's about to hit 200 episodes. Don't Panic is about to hit 300 episodes. And game nights is about, theoretically, to hit 100 episodes. So, if we time it right.
There you go.
I'm the only person who cares about that. Guys, we're gonna wrap it up here. Make sure you come back next week for more Shaun-tember action. Of course, our website is upfordebate.tv. Go there, check it out. Check out the rest of Shaun-tember if you haven't listened already. Subscribe wherever you get podcasts. Check out the video version. I guess I shouldn't say it now, because if you listen to it, you're not going to go back and watch it. But this was a great video version. You can watch us eating cookies. And follow us at UpForDebateTV on Twitter and email us upfordebatetv@gmail.com. On behalf of Matt, I'm Shaun. Thanks, folks, for joining us, and we'll see you next time for another Shaun-tember episode of Up for Debate.